we're just as excited as we can be to have Devon Gilfillian in, and so early in your career. This is just a real pleasure.
It's great to be here, John. Thank you for having me. Thank
So
you.
we've been playing Get Out and Get It, and it sounds like, it's the perfect record to get a speeding ticket by.
Oh, absolutely. it gets you hype, You get sometimes I get angry in the car, I think, just listening to it because I'm so excited, No.
Yeah.
Actually, it's definitely more uplifting. I would say I'm not angry when I listen to it. It's like
Yeah.
it's a dance, it's fun dance party,
Yeah, and we'll get around to that as the interview goes along, but I kind of want people to get to know who you are. And, it's like press releases and bios are always so linear, I think that you had a lot of influences coming at you kind of all the time growing
Absolutely.
up. You were a hip-hop kid.
I was. I was listening to like Ludacris. That was like one of the first records that I bought, actually. Ludacris, Southern Hospitality, and Pharrell was, had some stuff on there, produced some stuff, and I was always into hip hop producers like Pharrell and Kanye, and they, that was when I was in like middle school, elementary school, and but also, and then that's like, just like the music that my friends were listening to,
Right.
and I grew up with, and then my dad was listening to, Otis Redding, The Temptations, a lot. Like Stevie Wonder was on all the time. Like Stevie Wonder was who I feel like my voice, like I would just hear it and I would try to make my voice sound like Stevie Wonder and sing along with it. So that, Ray Charles, that was all coming from my dad's side. And it kind of mixed. It wasn't until I was 14 when I really jumped down the classic rock hallway, like Jimi Hendrix, the Allman Brothers, Zeppelin, and turned into like one of those. Went through my guitar nerd phase, But yeah, I'm a mixed bag.
So your dad, you were talking about how much he was into music. He was actually a musician.
Yes, yeah. He's a right now he's still singing in weddings. He's a wedding singer now, but he plays percussion and sang all his life and sang in a band in the '80s called Cafe Au Lait. It was kind of like a fusion rock, jazz, R&B band, and lots of like Steely Dan influence and all over the place. But he exposed me to. He was the biggest influence of music on me for sure.
So Cafe Au Lait, they aren't a band anymore, but they had a reunion show, and you actually got to be on that bill.
I did. Like a year. It was not this past Christmas, but a year prior to that, and it was amazing. I got to open for my dad. I've always dreamt of opening for my dad, and it happened. And we just got done recording a record. I got to fly my dad to L.A. and have him sing on a song.
Oh, how cool is that?
He was over the moon. He was like, really, Deb? Like, yeah, you actually want me to? All right, okay. He's more shy than I am, But yeah, that was a magical experience. Very like full circle, just getting to create with my dad. That was. It's incredible.
Yeah, boy. So the guitar, you mentioned the guitar, and I just get the sense that guitar was like life-changing. And how did that come about? Did you want a guitar? Were you asking for one?
I was like, my friend Steve Kennedy played guitar when I was a freshman in high school, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool, and maybe I'll try this out. And so I went and got a crappy acoustic electric and learned Under the Bridge was like by the Chili Peppers, the first song I learned how to play on guitar. And my dad was like, oh, this guy kind of sounds like, Jimi Hendrix, like listening to the Chili Peppers. And I was like, oh, who's that? And my dad was like, BAP! Just smacked me on the head with a Greatest Hits Jimi Hendrix CD. I was like, come on now. And I put that in my ears, and as soon as I did, my brain was leaking out of my head. I was like, how does someone make sounds on the guitar that sound like this? Because he was using all these crazy phaser and chorus and wah and all, and I was like, I didn't know that the guitar did that, So I was from that point on, I was hooked. I was like, I need to figure out how to make this thing sound like that.
So when did you get the guitar tattoo?
I got it when I was 20, actually. Did you know about that?
Yeah.
How did you know, John? How did you know?
Yeah. Well, I haven't actually seen it. I don't spend much time at the beach. But
internet,
I understand that it's like a Strat that like goes out into a tree.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a Stratocaster. So of course, Jimi Hendrix being a Stratocaster guy, I fell in love with a Stratocaster, and I wanted to get something that represented my love for Stratocasters and music, and also actually really like just family, because my family is so musical, and I still gotta like add so much. I gotta shade it and put some like animals in the tree and everything, like birds and all that.
Well, I know you're 20, so it's like free will and all of that. But I do think that you should probably hit Stratocaster up for some,
right? Actually, Fender they hooked me up with a jazz master. Actually, they gave me they actually, which is mind blowing. I never thought that Fender, like one day, you dream as a kid, as a musician, you're like, I wonder like one day if I will get like a free guitar or get a sponsorship, and they actually sent a guitar to us. So I'm pretty pumped.
Do they know
that.
about the tattoo?
I don't know if they do. I should show them though. I should just show up one day just without my shirt and be like, walk around.
Go into the office, start.
Come on, you see this.
So I've heard you describe, your feeling about music as being like no plan B.
Yeah. Well,
so can you explain to me your degree in psychology? Like put yourself on the couch.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of kids when they're 18 they go to school for psychology because they're like, who am I? I just want to get to know myself, and I was actually interested in that, and I was interested in learning about why people behave the way that they behaved, and I think that getting a psychology degree has definitely helped me as a songwriter. But growing up in the small town that I did in Morton, Pennsylvania, becoming a professional musician was a silly thing. It was just silly, People were like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Oh, I want to like play music. They're like, "Oh, you want to be a rock star for a living? Oh, that's nice. Why don't you? But what are you going to major in college? And I never read music, so I was in this limbo of like, do I audition for the music program? And no, I'm not good enough. I don't read music, or do I just pick a major, find something else that I'm really interested in? And so I did. So I studied psychology, and then afterwards, I was like, I don't want to be a counselor. I want to play music, and that's when I was like, all right, let me move down to Nashville and see what this thing's about.
Well, you had your classes, and you graduated and all of that.
Yeah.
But you also had the class that was the bar bands.
Yes, absolutely. And that's, music never went away. It wasn't, study psychology, put music down, and it was like, all right, like, let me form bands in college, and really playing acoustic solo sets in bars was definitely was my school of hard knocks, and playing in front of drunk people that don't really care that you're there, and grabbing the monitor and shaking it and acting crazy, and you definitely need those hours of practice to get some kind of rapport with an audience, and I think that was awesome for me for that.
Devon Gilfillian is our guest. We'd love to hear some music if we could.
Awesome. This one's called Get Out and Get It.
No time to cry when you're bruised and battered.
Stop asking who's gonna light the fire. Stop asking who's gonna take you higher. Oh yeah, get out and get it. 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 It ain't coming to you. Get out and get it. Get out and get it. Oh, get out and get it. Get out and get it. Stop asking who. Yeah. Stop asking who. Yeah. Stop asking who's gonna light the fire. Stop asking who's gonna take you higher. Oh yeah. La 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 dee, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 dee, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 dee, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. La 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 dee, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 dee, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 dee, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
That was really spectacular. That was great. You know, I've done a lot of in studios. It's the first time I've ever thought, man, we really need a dance floor. You know, Bridge a Go-Go. I don't know, something. Yeah, that was wonderful. Of course,
Thank you, John.
You know, Get Out and Get It is a song that's becoming familiar to the Bridge audience.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
I love
so,
that.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to hold talking about that song, though, until a little bit later on.
Cool.
Because you were mentioning Nashville. And,
Yes.
You know, so you get out of college and you decide, well, I've got the 4-year degree, but that's not plan B. There is no plan B.
Yeah.
And so how do I get to a place where it's not like my small town on the outskirts of Philadelphia, someplace where music is viable?
Yeah. I was thinking, and I was like, man, where should I go, you know, just to learn about music? Like, I was like, should I go back to school for music? And I didn't have enough money. And so I was like, why don't I move somewhere, move to a city? And a lot of my friends did AmeriCorps. And basically you work for a nonprofit for a year and you donate many hours of your time, and they, you know, give you a living stipend. So I chose a program called Rebuilding Together, and they were based in Nashville, and applied for that program and I actually applied to that program and Austin and New Orleans, and I knew I wanted to go somewhere musical, but I got accepted to the program in Nashville, thank God. And that was the vehicle that got me down to Nashville. And, you know, obviously knowing I wanted to go somewhere musical, but I wanted to do something too that I wanted to give back in some kind of way and learn about the nonprofit world, and while learning about the musical world too. And so that was really cool that I got to experience that. And really, once I got down in Nashville, it was crazy. Just you throw a stone and you hit an amazing guitar player, amazing drummer, bass player, whatever, and the talent's crazy. And that fueled me and inspired me and really brought me up.
So my understanding is the first stone that you threw that hit somebody was John back here on the
Yeah,
drums.
I threw a stone and hit John me and John met at City Winery, this music venue restaurant, and I trained John, taught him everything he knows about wine and beverages and food as well. And I'm just kidding. John's an amazing cook, by the way, just to let y'all know. But we just became homies right off the bat, and John's been best friends with Taylor, over here, Mr. Taylor Thompson, for over 10 years, and they met in college. So they were like peanut butter and jelly, little rhythm section, you know. They still are. But yeah, John was like, "Yo, man, do you play music?" And I was like, "Yeah." Sent him a link to my SoundCloud, and he was like, "What? Like what? What are you doing? Like, you need to make more of this. You need to make an EP." And so we went to our shed, did some pre-production, and finally recorded our first EP in 2016. And that was like the beginning of this whole magic. And then Carson moved down to Nashville in May of 2016, and has been our main man since then. So, yeah.
So you make the EP, and you got some attention from Capitol.
Yeah.
Which is mind-blowing, right?
Completely mind-blowing. I didn't think that I did not think that we'd be signed with Capitol Records in this lifetime we really, you know, our A&R guy, this guy Chris York, came over our house and sat and listened to me play a couple acoustic songs and was like, "All right, that's all I needed. Like, we want to fly you out to LA and meet the whole team," and so we did, and it just felt right. From the get-go, they wanted me to be who I was, and really stood behind that, and we got to make a record that it's a dream record for me, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, we're not probably going to get to hear that record until the fall. Dribble it out. They're going to make us wait. You know, that whole concept of being yourself is really kind of at the core of, you know, your life experience even before Capitol came along. Because, you know, when you first went to Nashville, you were doing, you know, Delta blues covers.
Yeah. Black Cat I was in a band called Black Cat Crossing, and we were doing Delta blues covers, which was amazing. You know, that was a whole nother school of its own. And but I was like, I think there's something more than this. You know, I love the blues. I love and rhythm and blues is the sound that, you know, that we are pushing out in that channel. And but there's also more than that. I love hip hop. I love funk. I love electronic music, and I want to
do your own songs.
Encapsulate that. Yeah, exactly.
So when, you know, and we've seen this before, you know, you get signed to a major label and they want you to write 4,000 songs, and they want you to spend 400 days a year on the road.
Oh yeah. I'm like, wait a second, is there 400 days in a year? How's that possible?
Well, you double up doing gigs like this in the afternoon. Right?
Exactly.
So they've had you out on the road, and they've had you writing like a madman. Absolutely.
I mean, I've probably written like 120 songs, and you know, 20 of them are good. That's how that works. And
you've been out on tour with Anderson East. You've performed with Gladys Knight, Kaleo, Mavis Staples. You were with ZZ Ward over at the Truman here in Kansas City not too long ago.
Yes. I mean, it's honestly, it's been amazing. The artists have, Mavis Staples we got to do a special show in Lynchburg, Virginia with her, and we were actually the first African Americans to play in this theater reopening in Lynchburg, and that was to be part of a experience. Being part of activism with Mavis Staples is, to me, mind-blowing, because she's such a huge influence on me and my music, and also just the activism that she kind of, I mean, that she had and enforced back in the 60s and 70s is crazy. So that was Mavis is like obviously one of my she's my queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great.
And all of a sudden you have all these you're out on tour, by the way, right now with the Brothers Osborne. But you have other experiences, like you've been to Scandinavia now.
Scandinavia was,
But the one that I really want to talk to you about is almost exactly a year ago, you sang the national anthem to kick off the NFL draft.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, you know, it's a big building, and people who are fans of all kinds of teams go And so there's like all this allegiance. And here in Kansas City, when you go to a Chiefs game, at the end, when they go in the home of the Brave, the whole crowd pretty much yells Chiefs to cover up Brave. So it's the home of the Chiefs. And I'm listening to you play the national anthem. I'm pretty sure there were some people from Kansas City there shouting Chiefs. So I just wanted to say if that was, some people like that, some people don't like it.
I was too crazy nervous to probably even notice that. I was in my head just don't mess this up the whole time. Like,
you have such love for Jimi Hendrix. Did you reference his? I mean, I know it was like a basically solo acoustic.
I asked them if I could do an 8-minute rendition of the national anthem on guitar, and they said no.
Yeah.
They did not even humor that at all.
Well, you can do an 8-minute rendition of anything you want here today. We'd love some more music if we could.
Well, thank you. I'll play a couple more songs for you. Come back, baby. Come back to the here and now. Good to be high on your cloud, yeah. Come back, baby. Come back, yeah, to the here and now. Yeah, I'm waiting for your love with my feet on the ground, yeah. You don't need me, a king with no crown, yeah. Come hell or high water, yeah, I won't let you drown. Oh, come here and come now, babe. I won't do you no harm, but I can't let you be, yeah. Yeah, you're burning up my soul, baby, in the 3rd degree, yeah. Come back, baby. Come back, yeah, to the here and now. It's a slow burn, baby, yeah, this love of ours. I know you don't need me, a fool in the cloud, yeah. But Lord, I've been restless, hey, yeah, won't you lay me down? Oh, yeah, yeah. you come now.
Devon Gilfillian is our guest today. I wish that I could send people to a show tonight, but you came in just to do this.
I know.
I appreciate that.
I know.
That's so good.
We'll be back in the hood, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be waiting. This has been so much fun. So I want to talk about the record.
Yes.
And the thing that kind of resonates with me when I'm looking at this record is like all of the disparity of your different influences growing up. And, we can talk about, the first song that they dropped on us, which is so great, that's inspired by Afropop, but you wanted it to be all over the place and as eclectic as it could possibly be.
Yeah, and it's funny because Get Out and Get It is probably it's not the only song it's definitely has the strongest flavor of Afrobeat in it. But I kind of spread that like that percussion, all those flavors a little bit within the record. But I mean, it's all over the place. There's psychedelic Isley Brothers kind of feeling groovy songs, and then there's War on Drugs kind of rocking out song called Unchained that I wrote, and really what brought the record together and tied everything together was the fact that we got to record. We recorded all the instrumentals to the songs in an old studio in Hollywood, and recorded them all to tape, mixed them on the board at the studio, and put it to vinyl. And so there's just instrumentals on vinyl. We have like 11 instrumentals just on vinyl, and then we took that and then put it in the digital world and like chopped it up and put it in like a drum machine, electronic drum machine, and played that. Actually, that was for Get Out and Get It. It was me playing all the instruments that we played on a drum machine, which was weird and crazy. But I got to combine and just like this old style of recording to tape, as well as this newer method of like, almost hip hop production and stuff. So that was really what was the red line through the album.
So you mentioned War on Drugs. Your producer, Sean Everett, worked with War on Drugs, also worked with Alabama Shakes, and you referred to him as a wizard.
He really is. He's watching him work and do what he does is crazy inspiring, and really he's not the best thing about Sean is that he's not afraid to set a microphone on fire if we need to get a sound that we want. And we literally, to create a Leslie speaker sound, Sean made me tie a microphone to a cord and spin it around in front of another speaker that was putting out sound, and that was how we got this like crazy glockenspiel tremolo Leslie sound on one of our songs. And there's no shortcuts. There's only fun long cuts and rabbit holes that always lead somewhere.
Yeah, this is a ridiculous digression. But John Lennon famously wanted to have his voice sound like it was like on a different planet, and he wanted to be. They never did it because everybody was afraid. They actually sent some people out for rope one time, but somebody caught him and said, "Just don't come back." He wanted to be suspended from the ceiling and then wound up so that as he sang in front of the mic, he would be going around and unwinding, and a very similar kind of effect, right? So
I bet he legit actually would have done that if that guy come back with the rope.
Absolutely, he would have. They tried everything. So you had always kind of had a falsetto, but were not really sure about using it until you got into the studio.
Oh yeah, actually, it's funny. A lot of the songwriting that I did in Nashville, whenever I would use my falsetto voice in the sessions, that people would be like, "What are you doing? Yes, give me more of that." And I'm like, "What? Are you sure?" And I don't know. I just kind of, listening to like Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield, like those guys, just their falsetto's just like butter. So that I definitely try to channel that as much as possible.
I was going to ask you about that because you've been drawing a lot of Curtis Mayfield comparisons and how you felt about that.
If people compare me to Curtis Mayfield, that is amazing. I feel like if I can channel any Curtis, that is beautiful.
So when we were talking about Get Out and Get It, that was actually inspired by a specific song.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the Jungle by the High Grades, yeah. Me and Jamie Liddell wrote that song, wrote Get Out and Get It, and I was like, Jamie, man, I'm really into I want to get into like an Afrobeat kind of groove, and he was like, I know exactly what you need, and went into the computer and just like did his his magicianry and chopped up. Found the high grades in the jungle and kind of like chopped it up and like mixed it up and that was where Get Out and Get It, the music, the influence came from, that.
You can hear it, if you go and listen to the record. It's an instrumental.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
So you actually ended up going to Africa.
Yes. Yeah, me and John, we and our buddy Cal, we took a trip to Johannesburg, South Africa, and it was amazing. We went about a couple months ago and got to meet local artists, local musicians, and I got to jam with some of the local musicians over there in a club. And we're working with this cat Tresor, who's an amazing R&B Afrobeat artist over there, and he's going to do a remix of Get Out and Get It. So be on the lookout for that. But it was just an amazing experience being over there and seeing the culture.
Sean, your producer, encouraged you to almost do method acting when you were recording it, pretending that you were, in the 1970s in Nigerian club music,
Literally, that's exactly what he would do. He would come in the room, and he'd be like, all right, guys. He'd turn the lights down, and he'd be like, all right, imagine you're in a dark club in 70s Nigeria. There's people pouring in, there's sweat everywhere, and you'd like get really into it, and it was funny how serious we took it, and I'm glad we did, because it created this insane sound.
So the recording, some people work up the songs, go in 10 days, you're done. You worked on this for 6 months.
Yeah, we stretched it out, and that's one thing that I loved about the process, and Sean definitely takes his time, and I think it's important to put something down and then come back to it and listen to it again and see all right, what's really missing, what do we need to do here, and that was really cool that we got to do that, and but yeah, there's definitely time was not of it was of the essence, but we got to chill and take our time, which is cool.
Yeah, well, my understanding is you're going to be taking your time releasing it, so all we can do is think of it as looking forward to Christmas morning, because it's going to be a while.
Exactly.
But we'd love to hear another song if we could.
Awesome.
Devon Gilfillian in our studios today.
This one's called The Good Life. I remember yesterday, trouble was so far away, castles in the sand, everyone a different shade, but everybody was the same, when the lion kissed the lamb. So it seems in my dreams, may it be, I'm talking about that good life. I can see all the colors show us what it really means to be beautiful. Remember when the violence stopped, stranger was your brother. Remember when the bank got sold and everybody took their gold and everybody helped each other? Ooh, so it seems in my dreams may it be. I'm talking about that good life. I can see all the colors show us what it really means to be beautiful. I'm talking about that good life where we all have peace. We don't shut our doors and tell them all to leave, 'cause they're beautiful. Whoa. Come on, we gotta act, love attack. Take your mind back in time, rewind to Eden, where we can find peace, Lord, if we just believing. I'm talking about that good life. I can see all the colors show us what it really means to be beautiful. Oh, I'm talking about that good life where we all have peace. We don't shut our doors and tell them all to leave, 'cause they're beautiful. understand each other? Oh, do you hear me, sisters and brothers? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't care if you're black, white, brown, orange, or blue, yellow, or red. I just wanna know and understand the pain going on in your head. Oh, won't you talk to me? Oh, baby, I'm talking about that good life. I can see all the colors show us what it really means to be beautiful. I hope we got the last shot of me tripping over my wire.
That's actually great because, for a second there we thought you were God. That was really great. Thanks so much for giving us the long version, too.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us.
That was something. They can take the man out of Philly, but they can't take Philly out of the man.
That's what I'm saying. And try to get that Delphonics, the OJs, and
Yeah. This has been really special. Thank you
John.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to the band. This would have otherwise been a day off for you. So to come in here and do this for us is really, really quite meaningful.
This was amazing for us, and this is my job is to play music for a living. So I feel like it's not even a job. It's just I love it, and we're grateful that you have us.
Yeah, well, I have to say, we're so looking forward to the new record. We don't have a name for the album. We don't have a release date. We do know it's coming, and we're waiting patiently. You can find all kinds of information about Devon Gilfillian online. And, of course, we'll be playing Devon religiously on the bridge. Devon Gilfillian, live on the bridge. Thanks so much.
Thank you, John. Thank you.